It's Avatar time.
Yes. So, the Avatar project, to which James Cameron has now singly devoted his attention for a very, very long time, lumbers on. Remember James Cameron? I used to be a huge fan of James Cameron, Terminator, Aliens, and then Avatar kind of came along and he said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make Avatar movies. So I didn't like the first Avatar. I positively disliked the second Avatar. By the time we got to this one, the third one, Fire and Ash, I keep having to remember because Way of Water, Fire and Ash, not memorable titles. I really am, I have to say from the beginning, pretty much past caring, particularly since this clocks in at, is it 197, 162, yes, it's like, it's very, yeah, it's 197 minutes long. So, what there is of a plot has Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana's tree-hugging, watery Na'vi getting locked in a conflict with a rival Pandora tribe who are led by Una Chaplin's Varang, who they live in a volcano or near a volcano. They're fiery and ashy as opposed to Na'vi who are watery. And they've teamed up with the evil imperialist, colonialist human invaders who are there to rape and pillage the planet and steal the stuff from it. I think we have a clip. Should we have a listen?
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the only pure thing in this world. The fire came from the mountain, burnt our forest. My people cried for help. But Eva did not come.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
Rustle up the enthusiasm there.
All right. So in the past, it's wet Smurfahont. You call it what you want. Fern Gully in space. Wet Smurfahont is Board of the Rings. Anyway, whatever you call it, for all the innovation that is happening in each of the new movies, there's no getting beyond the fact that we have seen all of this before. And we're now going to have to see it again at bum-numbing and bladder-busting length, okay? Firstly, just when you think that everyone has finally abandoned 3D, here we are again, balancing those ridiculous glasses on our noses, or in my case, balancing those ridiculous glasses on my ridiculous glasses, and remembering why it is that the 3D craze, exactly as I had predicted, came and went, and continues now only in the mind and world of James Cameron and in movies that need to be theatrically released in international territories which demand that they will only take the movies in 3D versions, okay? It's a long time since I put the 3D glasses on. I can't remember the last time I did it. And I put them on. I thought, oh, yeah, I remember why I hate this. I just remember, yeah, fine, you have to sit with your head like that. So I said, fine. So there's that for 3.25 hours or however long it is. So for the first hour and a half, nothing of any consequence happens at all, except there is some sort of, hobbly-knobbly, bob-blongy, bongy-bingy-bongy stuff, which attempts to establish these kind of internecine rivalries between characters that I've forgotten about from the first film, couldn't remember in the second film, struggle to identify here in the third. And at one point, I was trying to figure out who's playing what, which one is because one of the things is and Kate Winslet. So and Kate Winslet is in it. And, she's only brief, but and Kate Winslet is in it. And Kate Winslet, who can hold her breath underwater for whatever it was, she said like 7 minutes. And you're trying to map them onto Sigourney Weaver and all that stuff, and trying to do it by remembering people's names. But I can't remember anyone's names. Can't remember any characters' names at all. Okay, what I do remember is, oh yeah, it's it's all the bits from other. So you get the Star Wars dogfights, although then it's not X-wings, it's flying beasties. And incidentally, we're now so many hours into it, they still haven't figured out how to do the heft and how to do the weight and how to do the gravity thing. The people riding around on the back of the flying beasties, it's still just sort out the heft thing. Why aren't they falling off? I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any physical sense the way that it doesn't work. Okay, you get the cosmic merging thing with the next world, because there's the whole thing about that kind of like oceanic hot tub time machine with the big bluey thing in it, and you connect your hairpiece to it, and it somehow then you're in the land of the elders where characters who are dead aren't dead, but they're just living in the next world or something. You get the characters who were humans who got killed and then now's come back. I mean, the main one who's now come back as a giant Smurf who looks like an angry cat in military fatigues. And I'm thinking, was he more interesting when he was human than now that he's a giant Smurf? I mean, there are times when you look at the screen and you think this is like some nightmare furries convention. This is a whole bunch of people cosplaying being animals and about to get French. There's whales.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on. Get French. So are you saying this is an Avatar film with erotica?
No. Well, there isn't. Yes, I suppose there is what in the world of Avatar stands for an erotic frisson, I suppose. But as I said, the only thing I could think of was just furries, and we've sort of been there before. There's also there's whales. There's a lot more whales. There's a lot
Wales
more,
with an H.
Whales with an H.
Okay.
Yes, right. Not whale. They don't go to Wales. There's a lot more whales, and whales talking to people through the miracle of simultaneous Na'vi translation. The whale goes, woo! Because he said that the Big Bob with the diddly bong, we do not kill people. We are a peaceful nation. Then he goes, woo! He said, but in this case, yeah, fly past the ammunition. You also get a bunch of sub-Braveheart face painting and fist waving alongside nods to Spartacus and Gladiator, and once again, more than anything, Ferngully. And then so the first hour and a half, nothing. Then some stuff, and then in the staggeringly overdue third act, by which point most movies would have finished. They would have started, they would have done the trailers, they would have done the adverts, they would have done the whole movie, and it would have finished. And by the time that happens, by the time the people in the screen next to you are coming out of, the housemaid, you're just about to embark on the third act, which is the thing that the whole thing has been building up to, which is yet another big battle between, on the one hand, alien Terminator style metal technology, and on the other hand, wibbly wobbly space squiddy things, that are created by CGI. There's also at one point there's a bit when there's some characters are having a fight on floaty bits of land with fiery stuff underneath, and I thought that's the end of Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? I mean, you kind of think, I'm surprised one of them doesn't end up with a bucket on their head. Then you have the film's most irritating character, who I think is called Spider. I think that's what they're called, but I couldn't keep track of anyone's names at all. And Spider is this kind of dreadlocked young Trustafarian who seems to be channeling Mowgli from the Jungle Book, but who should rightly be up a tree on Earth stopping somebody building a bypass. And his character is largely defined by doing something physical and then saying the word. Now, I'm going to say this because this is important, okay? The film is a 12A certificate.
Okay.
And so I think we're 12A certificate language here on the show, yeah? Is that okay?
U certificate. No, we're a U certificate, I think.
Okay, so give me a word to use instead of the word that begins sh and ends t.
Spit.
Spit. Okay, fine.
Which is the word Eric Idle uses in Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. Life's a piece of spit.
Life's a piece of spit. Okay, fine. So the character, the Trustafarian Mowgli character, basically does something and then says spit. And there is a lot of spit in Fire and Ash. I asked a friend from the BBFC, because I did a show at the BFI on Monday after I'd seen Fire and Ash. Fire and Ash? Ash and Fire. Fire and Ash. Is that what it's called? Jurassic World. Anyway, Fire and Ash. And I said, what's the rule on 12A and spit? He said, oh, no, there isn't. There isn't a rule. I said, what? Seriously? You can say as many spits as you want in a 12A? He said, yeah. I said, well, they have really taken that completely literally, because there are, apparently no limits to how many times you can spit, and therefore this script takes full advantage of it. There is also a sequence in it in which James Cameron appears to have written the words, please, no, don't, and then fallen asleep on the shift, alt, repeat, paste, cut, repeat thing. There must be entire pages of the script of Avatar, Fire and Ash that literally go, please, no, don't, spit, please, no, spit, don't, please, spit. And weirdly enough, please, no, don't spit is all I could think of while I was watching this thing. It's just really, this is where we are after all this time. I kept thinking, don't look at your watch. Don't look at your watch, because if you look at your watch, it won't have been going for as long as you think it has, and there will be much more of it than you have to do. Now, one of the arguments for all of this is, look, it doesn't matter, because people love the world, right? They just love the world. I mean, I remember David Lynch once said, I interviewed David Lynch about Fire Walk with Me, and he said that one of the reasons he did Fire Walk with Me is he just wanted to be back in the world of Twin Peaks. He said it doesn't really matter what happens there. It's just, I want to be in that world. Now, I understand that. I think that what's happened here is that all of James Cameron's thing is he's just fallen in love with the world, okay? Which is essentially, a Roger Dean album cover come to life. And he just wants to spend time in the world, and therefore he's just kind of every now and then remembering that there needs to be a story rather than just the stuff going on. But okay, fine. I'm thrilled that he's pleased with it. And if you were playing it as a video game, maybe you could just play it for hours. And incidentally, the visuals, for all the stuff that people talk about, the amazing technical achievement, no, some of it looks like spit. Some of it looks like video game visuals in which they still haven't figured out how to do heft. And how is this? Because you're doing motion, you're doing all this stuff, everything you're throwing at it, and yet you still haven't figured out how to make it look like that big, thin Smurf is actually standing on that big flying dinosaur that's come out of another movie, and make me think that the physics of it make any sense. And then when you get into that big final act, it's this classic thing about it is one of those multi-stranded storylines that, back in whenever it is it 1903? There's a very, very famous film from early cinema called The Great Train Robbery, in which Edwin S. Porter effectively invented parallel editing. Well, he didn't invent it, but he kind of, he pioneered parallel editing, which is two different strands going on at the same time. I guarantee you, if you got the makers of that film and showed them Avatar, Fire and Ash, they would go back in time and undo the invention of parallel editing and say, from now on, all films are just going to be a train arriving in a French station in one shot, and that's all that's going to happen. Because it's just a bunch of placeholders. It's the bit from Revenge of the Sith is happening, and then the bit with the watery thing is happening, and then the bit with the annoying trust, and they're all just go. And look. Back when Larry Vade do Untran Lagarde Ciatat or whatever the thing is, back then movies were shorter, pithier, and a lot more fun. I have no doubt that this will make a bunch of money. And as you said, the Golden Globe thing was they already nominated it for popular cinema achievement or whatever it's called before, as far as I can tell, anyone had actually seen it. I just want it to stop forever. I just want to. How is it possible to have come this far, and for the storytelling to still be this bad? And also, why do people keep telling me that the world looks brilliant? No, it doesn't. It looks a bit spit.
Why was it a French train?
Because that's the arrival of the train at the city. They were in France, aren't they?
All right, you weren't implying that it was like
Train of Lust. No.
Like a sex scene.
No. I mean French actually as of France rather than as of French matters.
Here's the plus point, though. Cinemas will stay open because of this film.
And
so
there it is. And there it is.
But that's true, isn't it? You know.
No. And there it is. It would be but I refer back to a point that I made in a book that I wrote many years ago called The Good, the Bad, and the Multiplex, which is, if these things are going to make money anyway, could you not make them good?
I'm looking forward to it when I get to see it, probably when I'm ill and I'm watching it on my laptop.
On your phone.
Yeah, and it's more enjoyable than, vomiting in my...
Yeah. Incidentally, Avatar Fire and Ash is out this week, not 26th. It's the one that's out this week.
Okay.